And welcome back to Ford Field here in Detroit as the Lions, who were beaten 56-21 at Philadelphia last week, now going against the Bears. And there is Brian Griese, number 14, who has been the backup and finally getting the call, even after Lovie Smith said on the post game after Sunday's defeat, Rex Grossman is our quarterback. They looked at the video and they decided to make the change. Many of the reasons for what Brian Baldinger had explained before we got underway. So he's going to be running things right now. And there you see Rod Marinelli, who was incensed at the loss to the Eagles and blamed really himself. He said, I'm a teacher and I've got to do a better job of teaching.
Rod Marinelli knows Brian Griese very well. They were in Tampa together for his years there. Brian Griese was there for 2 years. In fact, Brian Griese's last starting era was in Tampa a couple of years ago. He started off the season 5-1 as a starter for Tampa Bay, blew out his knee, went on injured reserve, ended up here last year.
The Lions will get the ball first. Robbie Gould will be kicking off. And number 87 is Mike Furrey to the left, and the deep man Brian Calhoun for the Lions. Bears trying to come back from a 34-10 thrashing last Sunday night against Dallas. Calhoun lets it bound into the end zone, and the Lions will start at the 20-yard line. Jon Kitna, who last week established career high and franchise high marks with 446 yards. Bit deceptive, though, because the team was trailing by big margins throughout.
Jon Kitna said he was upset that they didn't win the game last week, because losing 56-21, he said we still had a lot of opportunities. We left a lot of points on the field.
So first down at the 20. The running back is Tatum Bell, and he gets the call on first down and picks up about 5 yards.
In the spotlight for the Detroit Lions today will be Jon Kitna. He is a guy that has to be protected better than he was last week. The first carry going to Tatum Bell. They've got to get him involved in the running game. Already the first play, making an early commitment. And on defense, Shaun Rogers has got to show up along with Corey Redding, because the Bears are running right at him today.
Never mentioned his name at all last week. Never involved in a play. Second down and 5. And again, the handoff is to Tatum Bell, and Bell will be about 4 yards shy of the first down as Brandon McGowan, who's starting at strong safety for Adam Archuleta, out with the broken hand. And McGowan started 3 games a couple of years ago for Mike Brown, and in one game in particular against the Steelers really threw himself at the action, so they like him. As the Lions look at third down.
What you worry about on this first third down, as Danielle Manning, last week's starting safety, lines up on Roy Williams, is the communication in that secondary with so many new people.
Ricky Manning Jr. is shadowing McDonald. Kitna gets away from trouble, and standing down the sideline is Mike Furrey. And Mike Furrey had a foot out of bounds. No defender near him. And Furrey was there and did not stand in bounds. Incomplete. Tough break for the Lions.
Yeah, well, here he is working on the outside, and this is a bad mistake by Mike Furrey. He's got to know where the out of bounds is. Without looking, he's got to know that he's got to be inbounds. Terrible mental mistake on Mike Furrey on the first third down.
And that cost him about 15 yards. So on fourth down, Nick Harris will be kicking it away. And the ever dangerous Devin Hester is back deep for the Bears. Kicking it right at Hester at the 30.
He's got blocked.
And Devin Hester, in Lion territory, loses the ball. And it goes out of bounds, so it will still be Chicago ball, as no one was able to get possession. And it was Corey Smith who forced the fumble from behind. And a great bit of running by Devin Hester as he picked his way, went around the outside, and got good yardage.
A couple of breaks going against the Lions early in this game. This being one where they really do a good job of forcing Devin Hester to reroute himself, go across the field. Now he picks up a couple blockers. But nice job by Corey Smith coming from behind to strip this ball. Good hustle by the defensive end.
And a 29-yard return.
Hester has been fumbling a lot lately in the return game.
First down for the Bears on the 41 of the Lions. And here is Cedric Benson. Cedric Benson last week gaining 46 yards and a touchdown, but under 3 yards a carry. And talking to Brian Griese yesterday, you know that the Bears want to go back to more of the fundamentals in the running game, a big part of that.
Well, that's a big part of it. And then, you know, when Brian has to make those throws, he wants to be a veteran leader, smart, quick decisions with the football.
Second down and 9. Tight end Desmond Clark came in motion, pressure, and Clark with the reception, and he is brought down. Good open field tackle that time by Kenoy Kennedy, the strong safety, in a gain of 6.
And in the spotlight for the Bears today, obviously, is going to be Brian Griese making his first start this year. Kind of a traumatic switch, but a switch that needed to be made. Cedric Benson wants a chance to go carry the mail for this football team. He needs reps to do it. They got to stay on the field, convert third downs. He's got to be a part of that. And Mark Anderson on defense will be going up against Jeff Backus most of the day. That defensive line has got to control the line of scrimmage.
Third down and 3. And Adrian Peterson, who's been bothered by a sore calf, has come in at running back. And right now, with the clock running down, the Bears forced to call a timeout. Less than 3 minutes into this game, no score. We'll be right back. Here in Detroit, Dick Stockton, Brian Baldinger, the Bears forced to burn a timeout, looking at third down and 3.
Brian Griese said he hoped to energize this offense, and it needed some, averaging just 11 points a game in the first 3 weeks.
Number 16 is Mark Bradley, a speedster who has had injury problems. He's lined up to the bottom of your picture. He has great speed. Griese, though, looking the other way, and his pass is knocked away. Good hit on Bernard Berrien. And that was Stanley Wilson, the cornerback, who had his problems against the Eagles. Fourth down coming up.
You saw a little bit of Brian Griese right there. I mean, smart. He pulled the ball down, didn't throw it to his first receiver. But the throw that he actually made, that's the difference between him and Rex Grossman. The ball takes a little longer to get there. And in that reaction time right there, Stanley Wilson was able to make that play.
So the Bears will try to get on the board with a field goal attempt, and Robbie Gould comes on. Gould is perfect 4 for 4, and his longest field goal this year has been from 47 yards. This will be a 52-yard attempt. And it's blocked. And taken down, and the Lions running it out from the 30-yard line. And the Lions will be, thanks to Kenoy Kennedy, who's already made 2 major plays, will have the ball in Bear territory. There's a penalty marker on the field, however, right about the place that Kenoy went down. Kennedy went down at the 42, and there's a flag. Bill Carollo, the referee.
After the play is over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 60. 15-yard penalty, first down.
We'll see who gets the push in the middle. You can see them all stacked here. Sure looks like Shaun Rogers got 2 hands on it.
And there is Kennedy, 34-yard return and the penalty. 13 block kicks for Shaun Rogers, as now the Lions at the Bear 27-yard line after the big return by Kenoy Kennedy. And on first down, handoff is to Tatum Bell, broke a tackle, and Williams knocks him down inside the 25.
Dick, let's take a look at the block by Shaun Rogers. A little bit unusual in his technique here, blocking his 13th career kick. When he comes through, watch him right here. He's got 2 hands up there, almost like Kevin McHale blocking a basketball shot. He's got a bigger surface area that he can block, whereas opposed if you just put 1 hand up.
You're dating yourself. There's Tatum Bell, and this time the Bears are there after a gain of a yard. Brian Urlacher with his first tackle, and right now for a game break, let's send it out to Los Angeles and Kurt Menefee.
Well, I want to let you guys know nothing's going on in Miami. A lightning delay at the start of the Raiders-Dolphins game. Both teams taken off the field during pregame warm-ups as a precaution. And Dick and Baldy, do I hear you guys singing Blame It on the Rain by Milli Vanilli?
No, now you're dating yourself, Kirk. No, Dick, that's your area of the world. Down in South Florida, you've seen those kind of storms.
No
before.
question about it. And you got to wait till they pass. 3rd down and 6. And there's Kitna going down. He was sacked 9 times last week by the Eagles. And the Bears claiming the ball was jarred loose. It was not, and it was Tommy Harris who almost was a scratch in this game.
Jon Kitna tries at the very end to get rid of this football so he doesn't take the sack. Wale Agunlia, he's the one that knocks the ball out. And I think that should be reviewed.
Well, so far, no challenge has been made, and now, as the Lions get to the line of scrimmage, they're going to run the play. And it'll be a field goal attempt.
No, Lovie just threw it down.
And a very smart challenge, because as we looked at the replay, it looked like it could very well be a fumble by Kitna.
Mm-hmm.
And many times the referee will go over to the head coach to say maybe you don't want to challenge this thing.
Or if it's challengeable, whatever he may be reviewed. And it looks like Lovie's picking up the flag, and it's going to stand. Urlacher's pleading his case to Bill Carollo. Here's John now trying to get away.
There's no challenge on the field, and Chicago's not charged a timeout for the challenge.
The ball is clearly out.
He was
almost standing up, and his knee, neither knee was down. I don't know what Bill Carollo said to Lovie Smith, but I think he just took another look at it.
So a field goal attempt now, 49 yards for Jason Hanson. Hanson is 5 for 7 on the year. And the Lions take a 3-0 lead. Lions 3-0. First quarter, nearly 5 minutes gone by. And we've already had some wild plays. Devin Hester with a return, the ball knocked away. And then a blocked field goal attempt. And then the Lions in prime scoring position wind up with a 49-yard field goal by Jason Hanson. And Devin Hester back deep once again.
It's now clear a quarterback switch alone can't fix this team. Brian Griese's 3 interceptions helped kill the Bears. New quarterback, same old story.
It's about making decisions and tempering that with making plays. And as a quarterback, that's what you get paid to do. And if you're going to have plays that don't go your way, you better make enough to make up for it. I mean, at the end of the day, whether you win or lose is the ultimate judgment.
Devin Hester wowed everyone again. Hester and the defensive line kept the Bears in the game, but Detroit scored 34 in the fourth quarter, and this team is searching for answers.
We're a bad team right now. We're definitely not playing to our potential right now. It's not a bold statement, obviously. We got to get it fixed, man. But if we don't think we're better than we are, then we'll be playing. We got to come back tomorrow and get ready for Green Bay.
There's a collapse. We collapse at a team at the end of the game, and we haven't done that very much.
Everybody has to be accountable, no pointing the fingers, because it's so easy to do that, but get it right within yourself. So if I take care of my business, every guy take care of his business, and then that is what improves the team.
It was a long, bizarre fourth quarter, painful to watch. The Bears leave Detroit 1-3, and now the offense in the quarterback position isn't their only problem. And you know they're in bad shape when they all agree that the only positive right now is that it's early in the season. In Detroit, Howard Sudbury, CBS 2 News.
Thanks, Howard. Brett Favre and the Packers visiting the Vikings. First quarter, vintage Favre, a bullet to Greg Jennings. Favre becomes the all-time leader in touchdown passes with 421. The Packers go on to win 23-16. They improve to 4-0, and the Bears play Green Bay next week. As we told you earlier, the Cubs are heading
fourth quarter points in that loss at Detroit. As we all know, the defense is really beat up, and the offensive line just isn't getting the job done in the running game or in pass protection. Even the long-awaited quarterback change couldn't prevent 3 more costly turnovers in this game.
We are 1-3, and you know, you are what your record says you are, I think, and 2006 doesn't matter right now. It's about 2007 and about how we're going to respond. We've got a big test coming up next week, but for me personally, I wouldn't want to have it any other way for us to get things back on track.
The only way you're going to change course is in some kind of way find a way to win a football game. We're not going to change what we do. We're not going to change our practice routine. It's going to call on the guys more. But if there is a good part, and there is a good part, it's we're early in the year. I mean, we just picture playing one quarter in a game, and you're behind and you don't like the way you're playing. That's where we are right now.
Well, make sure to join us tomorrow at 5 o'clock for Bears Recap with Dan Jiggets, featuring all the latest news from Hallis Hall as well as Lovie Smith's day after news conference.
They give up 37 points to Detroit. You know, that is totally unacceptable. They have to basically clean all those things up, get back to the basics, start tackling better, you know, and start making some bigger plays and executing their assignments.
But part of that also has to be because of all the injuries. Missing now 6 starters from opening day. A lot of those guys are Pro Bowlers. If there was one game that the offense had to win for the defense after what the defense has done for this franchise, certainly over the last year plus, it was win the ball game, sustain some drives. And Jim, we did see it. We saw them in the shotgun. We saw them get a little bit of the running game. Bottom line, 69 yards. Terrible. You are not going to win football games, certainly in the NFC North, if you can't run the football. And again, there's major problems there. I think that goes to the offensive line, and it has to go to Ced Benson.
It goes directly to the offensive line. It goes directly also to Cedric Benson, the guy who's running the football. You know, you can't be looking for somewhere to fall down if you're going to run the football successfully in the NFL. Offensive line, you got to move some people out of the way. It's one thing to just get in front of somebody. It's another thing. You got to move him out of the way and allow this guy to find somewhere to run, because he's not one of those guys who's going to find a little crease and jib and jab like we used to see out of Thomas Jones. They've decided to cast their lot with Cedric Benson. Understand what you've got there in the backfield and start playing accordingly.
Take a look at the running back comparison today, and there you see it. Ced Benson, 15 carries. AP, just a couple. 50 yards from Benson, most of those coming with the, you know, a long run of 16 yards.
In the third quarter, most of them came, yeah.
No touchdowns. He did fumble one out of bounds. All in all, this running game has taken a dramatic step back since Thomas Jones left town.
One, I'll say this. If you look back at the Detroit Lions versus the Philadelphia Eagles last week, what was it? I'm not going to compare Cedric Benson, obviously, to Brian Westbrook because he's an elite player in his own class, but it's Garrett Wolfe in space. He's the same type of player as a guy like Brian Westbrook. We saw Benson coming out of the backfield, getting receptions. It's not the guy you want. It's Garrett Wolfe. That's the guy you got to get the ball to. After he fumbled the ball out of bounds, Wolfe was in the game, but they didn't utilize him.
Because, I mean, you know, when he catches a little swing pass, he's not a nifty guy. He's not one of those, you know, shake and bake guys like a Garrett Wolfe. And I understand exactly what you're talking about. If you get a guy out there in the perimeter and he catches the ball for a 6-yard gain, that's one thing. But you get a guy that can shake some people and maybe get the first down or take it the distance, that's a completely different story.
But you know what? The running backs, I think, did an okay job in the first half of this ball game.
8 yards.
Yeah, 8 yards rushing.
But still, they needed more of an opportunity. The opportunities weren't there because of the outcome of the football game.
Well, you know, I don't have the number somewhere handy right about now, but I want to say they probably had at least 10 to 15 rushes.
Yeah, but Greasy went ahead and threw the ball 52 times.
Oh, you mean in total in the game?
Total of the game.
But that's dictated also by, you know, what happens in the second half.
Let's get to Greasy's numbers here, first half and second half. And again, it's where these turnovers came. The pick six was horrendous, but here's his first half and his second half comparison. 140 yards in that first half, 17 to 26. The touchdown to Moose, the interception at the goal line, and what you see there in the second half is that's Rex-esque. That's what we've seen now over the last 16-plus games when Rex was your starter. That inconsistent play. Jim, do you look at that as a guy that's rusty who hasn't had a start since October of 2005? Or is this more the Brian Griese that we've seen throughout his 11-year career?
No, I think it's a little bit of both. Yeah, the rust of being a starter again. They did do some things different on offense. You could see Brian Griese going up there in the shotgun, audibling, changing the protections, and that's when they had their best drives where it led to the touchdown reception by Muhsin Muhammad. But I think, again, the quarterback position always comes down to decision-making. You didn't see decision-making today. Brian Griese made some bad decisions, and it can't happen, especially when you're a 10-year veteran. That can't be expected.
I mean, you can't throw into coverage. You see 2 guys over there guarding your guy. You see 3 guys in some cases. You can't throw over there. I mean, you know, I was an offensive lineman, and I know that.
I told him sometimes as a quarterback, when you line up and you're going against the defense, sometimes it's just about seeing different colored jerseys. If you don't understand what the coverage is they're running, I just see different colored jerseys. I can't throw there. And that sometimes, you know, guys can't get over that.
Okay, we're awaiting Brian Griese's press conference. We're also awaiting Lovie Smith's live from Detroit. There it is at Ford Field. We'll bring it to you as soon as that happens. Let's go back exactly a week ago. We still didn't know necessarily that Rex was going to be benched. Rex was our quarterback a week ago. That all changed this week. Considering the way the Lions were, certainly a horrible secondary that gave up 56 points to Philadelphia last week. The decision to start Griese this week versus giving Rex another chance, your thoughts on that, Jim?
I personally thought Rex would get another chance, but we said it was going to be a short leash. But obviously, with all the injuries, you like to think as a head coach, you're going to play the more experienced guy and get the good decisions and not the dumb decisions that cost you football games. That's what it was based upon. And Chicago had to start out fast this game. It still didn't happen, but they were in the game at the half. But ultimately, bad decisions, again, at the quarterback position led to the demise.
I thought you had Rex gone, man, because I was the guy that said, you know,
I said short
first
leash.
half. I thought you had him gone.
No way.
We've got people coming in here. Is the season over already? I mean, you look at it's 1-3. You look at Green Bay at 4-0. You're going to Lambeau next week. That's a 2-game swing any way you cut it. From your standpoint, you got to get some bodies healthy on the defensive side.
That's the most important thing.
But you also got to get something from this offense.
You have to get healthy. That's the most important thing right now. But at the same time, you have to get something going. They've basically dug a hole, and they need to stop digging this hole because they are definitely in a lot of trouble right now. But the season's not over. This is a long season. This is definitely a marathon.
You know, do you think that the Packers are going to finish undefeated? That's the question you have to ask.
Hey, Lovie Smith is meeting the media live at Ford Field. It's brought to you by AT&T Real Yellow Pages.
I've talked about how turnovers kill you, how they beat you in the end. We talked about finishing the ball game. We haven't talked a lot about penalties, though. That's an area that we've done a fairly decent job of. But today, all of those things, you know, fell through and hurt us at the end. Ran out of steam. We had some young players that tried to step up, but in the end, offensively, again, we didn't get a lot done, running game-wise, passing game. So there's not a lot of positive things for me to talk about, really. You know, right now we're a 1-3 ball club, and that's exactly how we played. The good part about it is that we're just finishing 1 quarter of the season. You know, big game with Green Bay coming up, but we have to change courses. You know, in a lot of different areas. Injury-wise, John Tate went down. I don't know the extent of his injury. And then I think we had some Kevin Payne also, some type of arm injury. I don't know exactly what that is right now. So those are a couple of the things we have. I'll take your question.
Okay, did you think Brian's performance was rusty?
It wasn't good enough. You know, as far as, you know, rusty, you know, he hasn't played a lot, but, you know, the quarterback position has to protect the football. We turned the ball over again this week, and we can't do that.
So how did the injuries in the secondary affect this one week in the defense?
Well, you know, they affect it, but, you know, at the end we had players out there that, you know, we feel pretty good about. Everybody has injuries. You know, you got to be able to, you know, we get a league like that, we have to be able to close it up some kind of way.
Was there ever a thought of changing the equipment?
No.
Why is that 3 points that we scored?
Shoot, Bob, I wish I could tell you right now. You know, we gave up big plays. We broke down. We weren't able to finish the game. The guys fought hard early, but, you know, we had plays. There were plays out there to be made, and we did make them. And again, I'm going to talk about the penalties, too, that kept them in there. Those are easy things to take care of there. So it was a collapse. We collapsed as a team at the end of the game, and we haven't done that very much. We got good pressure on the quarterback, and he ran around, but, You know, you get pressure and then you're offside. I don't know how many times. That's not good. We didn't do anything. I mean, we lost the football game. There's not a lot of positive things for me to talk about. We have a long ways to go. Thank God we have time to get it right because we need to. Well, the only way you're going to change course is in some kind of way find a way to win a football game. We're not going to change what we do. We're not going to change our practice routine. It's going to call on the guys more. But if there is a good part, and there is a good part, it's we're early in the year. I mean, we just picture playing one quarter in a game, and you're behind and you don't like the way you're playing. That's where we are right now. No, looking at the team, starting with me. Coaching-wise, we haven't done a good job. Players haven't. Team right now, everyone included, is not doing a good job.
Coach, how much did Payne's injury change what you're doing? Like, once he went down, you had to get him back to safety.
Well, that was plan 2. Mike, plan 1 was to have Danielle play corner. But, you know, it's good having a player like Danielle where, you know, you lose a player early in a game like that and you can still go on and try to hang on. Thank you.
Perturbed Lovie Smith after his team falls to 1-3 on the year, 37-27 the final. Here's the coaching report cards, B, B-. B, you heard Lovie say, and again, it sounds somewhat canned because every time they lose, you say you do blame the coaching, but you take a look at the way this team is offensively right now, and you look at the coaching. You know, we heard Greg Olsen. We heard, you know, all along that they were going to bring Garrett Wolfe into the picture. You know, only a couple carries for him. Where is Garrett Wolfe? Or where is Greg Olsen, I should say? Why aren't these tools that we heard so much about and Bourbonnais being utilized by this offense when they're struggling so much?
Yeah, you know, you would think that you would find some of them out there, but, you know, I don't know. With Olsen, maybe there's more to the injury than we know about. That's the only reason I can think why he wouldn't be out on the field and being a productive member of the football team. And the same thing for Garrett Wolfe. You know, why aren't you seeing him in certain situations taking advantage of his skills? Hester taking advantage of his skills. Let these guys get touches on the football rather than if you're going to waste time trying to run the football with, you know, guys gaining a yard or two a pop. That's not going to do you any good. And I'm the guy that loves to run the football, but you know what? If that's what you're going to call running the football, forget about it. Let's move on to something else.
Start taking some chances right now. They have to basically get the ball into Devin Hester's hand, into Wolf's hands. They've talked about this. They talked about this is what we're going to do. They need to go out there and show it.
Well, I just think going defensively, they did a great job with all the injuries. They did phenomenal, and they just wore down the second half, and it was the offensive side of the ball. They were more aggressive early. Greasy was good for a period of time when they did try to hit the crossing routes, and then they had some mistakes and breakdowns. But Garrett Wolfe needs to be in there on that back scat play. He's the guy that should be in the game.
Yeah, and you know, the double tight end set was something, too, that we thought, you know, this team could use to beat the middle of the field. Certainly against a cover 2, that's the area of the field that you can. And again, we don't see it.
One of the things that you can't you have to look at, though, is from an offensive standpoint, there were some things that were working. When you look at a team and, you know, going down the field and then, you know, creating turnovers, when you get down to the red zone, that means you've run 7, 12, 15 plays. You get down to the red zone and then throw the football away. So that takes all of that time and all that effort all for naught, because then the other team comes back, takes the football out of scoring territory, and maybe takes it down and scores on their own end. So you wasted all of that opportunity time that's gone.
Brian Griese is going to address the media not right away at Ford Field. He's going to have his press conference a little bit later on, so we're standing by on that. Our William Jackson is live at Ford Field. Let's send it out now to the Motor City and get his initial thoughts on this game. We're saying here a decent effort considering the way this defense was so decimated with injuries, giving up only 215 passing yards, the top-rated passing team in the National Football League. The bottom line is, Billy Jack, they didn't get enough out of the offense.
I'll tell you had a great storyline if you only play one half. The second half, once again, proved to be costly for these guys as they can't get it done, giving up so many points for 2 weeks in a row. But you talk about the defensive backfield, they did pretty good in the first half. But again, a couple things Lovie stressed last week was getting pressure on the quarterback. They were able to do that and get out of there on third down. They were able to do that. But in the second half, maybe the guys were out there too long, didn't get enough support. And you know the red zone turnovers hurt big time, as if they convert 1 or 2 of those, it could still be a game, maybe go go into overtime. But it was a tough situation all the way around. Again, just coming out the locker room, and the guys are dejected, just kind of looking around and, not feeling particularly good right now because they know they had a situation that they basically let get away. Back to the studio.
All right, William, we'll check in with you. We know the interviews will be a little difficult coming off the tough loss there in Detroit. Let's talk about the defensive side, namely the front four. That I think was the unit that was the best on this day. Right. What did you see, Jim, from the defensive front four? And 6 sacks on Kitna after 10 sacks. He was thrown to the turf last week in South Philadelphia.
Right. Awesome. Defensive front did a great job, protected that banged-up secondary. We know it. Who was it? Tremaine, who went out earlier, or Payne went out early in the game due to an injury. So I thought the front four did great. We're very scary with what they were doing with Tommy Harris, giving him a rest in his knee, but he still came in and was a factor. For me, Anderson, Ogunleye had a heck of a game. You couldn't ask for anything more from that front four.
We talked about it all week long. We're talking about pressure being the key thing, and the pressure and these guys getting on the quarterback, making him uncomfortable, making him have to take that second look and then delivering the shot on him. These guys did an outstanding job of that today.
Walleye played a great game. I thought Mark Anderson certainly
But
did a
one
nice
of the problems was they would have big plays, and then you have a penalty to
the
take away the
penalties
big
were
play.
horrendous.
And Alex had a couple of those situations today. And, you look at a guy like him, he can make a big play for you, but then don't do anything foolish in the ball game that'll extend the series for the opposition.
We saw that on a third down, that he's offsides. Yeah. They would have had to punt. They keep the drive going. Now he ends up on that same drive recovering the fumble. But again, this was, you talk about having different personnel in there. Maybe that leads to some of it. A lot of the penalties were from the front four, from guys that are usually in this lineup,
Right.
Jerry.
I mean, these guys definitely wanted to get after him. That's what they did. Unfortunately, they came away with a lot of penalties, which hurt them. But at the same time, I think the coaches did a good job with rotating them and trying to keep them fresh. Because I think in the first half, especially, Tommy Harris got in there a few times, and he was fresh because they were doing some good jobs with the rotating. But penalties is something that you just cannot have.
You know how defensive linemen are. They can't wait to get after the quarterback. That's the only reason why they play the game. And they saw this guy limping in there, and they said, hey, look, we're going to get after him.
All right, we're going to get after more interviews from the Motor City. Brian Griese will address the media. We'll bring that to you. As we head to break, here's our Cadillac poll question. What do you think of Griese's debut for the Bears in this 2007 season? A, he looked rusty. B, he looked like Rex. C, he showed potential. Or D, bottom line, they lost. And it is full on this evening. This one from Matt in Chicago. That was the most boring Bears game in years. Griese has the arm strength of an old man. Benson is brutal. Our receivers can't catch a pass. Is there any hope for this offense? A lot of truth in a lot of those comments there. Another problems holding on to the ball. We saw that with Bernard Berrien. Some of those passes were behind him, but all in all, your thoughts on breaking down this offense, Jim?
Well, kind of like what Dan said, it all starts up front. They're still not, they have protection issues, not open up run lanes. But again, is that a function of play calling? There needs to be some more things in this offense where they can be more creative. And they did it a couple times with the crossing routes, but once the Bears had the lead, it went back to the same old Bears, basic football and basic play calling. And I've got a serious problem with that because this is one team, when you're playing Detroit, they had to be aggressive. They had to get out to the lead early. It didn't happen. The lead wasn't big enough for them to recover.
Don't play scared. Don't play scared. Right. Play like, you're the NFC champions from last year. Play like it.
Here's the offensive line report card. C's across the board. Jim and Dan, you guys almost fell out of your chair when a 340-pound Sean Rogers came around.
The guy went to Ypsilanti and came back and got a sack.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how does that happen? I mean,
it's not supposed to happen.
To me, it's shocking because when you look at Sean Rogers, what is he, 330? And it's a pirate stunt where, again, the defensive end and defensive nose tackle break down, and the big tackle loops all the way around. Fred Miller, clue, ding, ding. It takes a long time, and he should have picked it up.
And Fred, you had to see him coming, okay? He's 6'6", 340 pounds. All you got to do is see, when you see those two guys going inside, there's somebody coming back around the other side. He spun around right there in a circle, right where he stood, and the guy hits the quarterback. You can't do that. That's where your offensive line, those are your responsibilities. That and picking up some blitzes, helping out those backs who can't seem to really block anybody anymore either.
Time to head back out to Ford Field, where William Jackson is standing by with Jamar Williams, who filled in for Lance Briggs. He had 3 tackles and a sack on this afternoon. Take it away, Billy Jack.
I appreciate it, Pat. And again, Jamar, a lot of guys had to step up. You had to step up, and they say when you go to training camp and do everything you should be able to step in those situations. And I tell you, for the first 3 quarters, you're more experienced, but a couple other guys stepped in and did some things.
Yeah, I think we came out there. We were able to, withstand some of the injuries. With Kevin Payne going down, it was a little tough, but me and Hunter were able to go out there and still play, versus their nickel packages. And I think we did good, but, bottom line, we got to finish when it comes to the fourth quarter.
And after the game started and you guys were able to hold the #1 ranked passing offense in the league in check, was the confidence starting to build more and more with the young guys and the guys who hadn't played as much in there?
I mean, even now, I give a lot of credit to them, but we know what our defense can do. We know, we have the, if the offense does what they do on us, it's going to be because of what we do. And we didn't execute tonight, and, we're going to put all that on us. We're not, Lions are a great team. They did a great job, but we got to go look at the film and see what we can do better. Okay.
How frustrating is it for you guys? Because if you look at the San Diego game, you look at all the games, defense came out with a vengeance, and then the outcome not what you were looking for.
I mean, it's very disappointing because, everyone on this team knows the caliber of talent we have on here and how far we can go with this team. And to not, have the record to show it is real disappointing. And, we're 1-3 right now, but we know we're not a 1-3 type team. We know we're a great team, and it's disappointing that we don't finish. And we know we have the best defense in the league, but so far we haven't shown it.
Okay, what's the mood? Because Lovie breaks everything down in the 4 quarters. This is the first quarter. It's done now, but is everybody still pumped? Because, again, like you say, the caliber of the guys on this squad and how close you are in many instances.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at all 4 games, we're a couple plays away from winning the game, and that's the disappointing thing. But at the same time, it gives us a little bit of confidence going into next week because we still know we're a great team, and we know we let these games that we lost slip out of our hands, and we just got to regroup and circle the wagons even tighter and go out in Green Bay and play better. Okay. And bottom line, fourth quarter, they were just able to make some plays more than anything? Pretty much. I mean, their defense made some plays, and ours defense really didn't. And that's pretty much the game right there. They executed better than us, and we got to finish. All right. Jamar, appreciate it as always. Okay, thanks, partner. All right, let's go back to you guys in the studio.
All right, William, thank you. And Jamar, a report card on the linebackers, B-, AA. Zoom, pretty good job out of this receiving core considering the offense they were going up against passing-wise. They did a pretty nice job, too, of stopping the run.
No, they did do a good job stopping the run, but at the same time, 34 points, that's a lot of points. 95 yards on the ground is not a bad job. They could have did a little bit better, but it just wasn't that great of a performance to me.
Well, I look at it this way, though. Again, you look at what you had to do and what you had to go through, who you were missing out of your regular lineup, and I think it was pretty impressive what they were able to accomplish today. Yeah, this thing got sloppy down at the end. The whole thing is stupid penalties and turnovers by the offense, what ruined this game for the Bears.
I thought again, Urlacher was all over the field making plays. Jamar Williams is playing some good ball. He didn't have a lot of tackles today, but had some tip passes. One Urlacher almost intercepted in this game. Another young player who responded, caused Tatum Bell to fumble. You can't ask anything more from your linebackers.
And we saw they stay more in the cover 2 scheme and not blitz those linebackers a lot on this afternoon. Time for another break here on US Cellular Bears Postgame Live. We're waiting Brian Griese to address the media if he's waiting for the Bears offensive line to open up a hole to get to him. You know what? I'm going to call an audible right here. I see Devin Hester and William Jackson. Are they getting ready? Billy Jack, you getting ready? All right. I think he can do it right now. Let's do an audible. I'm calling an audible. That's something we didn't see from Rex Grossman.
Are you Griese?
We didn't see that.
You were the one that wanted Griese.
We saw Brian. All right. Hey, let's talk a little bit about the Windy City Flyer because this guy takes one back.
He's
97 yards.
Every time he touches the ball, Pat, he has an opportunity to take it the distance. And today he had over 300 yards of offense. And to date, over 300 yards of offense for this guy. Ran back 197 yards for a touchdown. Had a couple more. It's just that far from breaking them again. I can't believe the Lions are stupid enough to keep kicking the ball to him.
That's their fault. See, I told you this way back in, I think last year I said this, and I'm going to say it again. Do not kick the ball to Devin Hester because he's just going to return it. And he did that today.
Yeah, he did.
He did it today.
And credit the guys also up front. His guys blocking for him. Real good special teams today. Great play out of those guys. Great play today out of Brendan Ayanbadejo as well on the coverage team. Those are the kind of things you look back on and you say, you know what, these are important things. It's a third of the game. A third of the yardage in a football game comes from special teams. These guys did a hell of a job today.
Now, can we take it further? If you can do that in space on special teams, why can't you get him the ball?
I totally agree. I don't understand. They tried wide receiver screen to him at least once, if not twice today. Picked up some yards on that.
Even the crossing routes, you can do things. If it's man or zone, man, he's going to run away. Zone, he's going to set it down, hit it to him. He's in space. In a 3-yard area, that guy, 3-foot area, that guy can make plays.
Again, we're waiting for Brian Griese. He's going to address the media shortly at Ford Field. We will hear from Devin Hester as William Jackson is standing by with him and having an interview with him. We'll bring that to you in just a second. As we head to break, here's our Cadillac poll question. First up, 4 seasons, who's hot, who's not over the last 7 days? Tony Romo, another stellar performance as Dallas stays undefeated. He comes through with 3-touchdown performance. Patrick Creighton, 7 catches, 2 tutties. Brett Favre becomes the all-time touchdown passing quarterback in the National Football League. 2 better now than Dan Marino. Who's not? How about Mark Bolger?
Let's get him in here.
How about Thomas Jones?
All right, the Jets
and
are
Trent Green. We're coming back with more. Stay with us. Ends up with a 97-yard kickoff return that put the Bears on top, 2017 at that point. He now has in his career 7, but it's 8 if you count what he did in the Super Bowl. So 8 returns in his career for a score which matches Gale Sayers' all-time record with the Chicago Bears. He spoke with our William Jackson just moments ago.
All right, thanks, guys. Here with Devin Hester. And Devin, this was a day, another disappointing loss, but you guys fought for a while. In the end, just didn't come out.
It just barely didn't come out. You know, I just felt like we tried so hard today. You know, we're trying to get out this dog hole, man. It's 1-3 now. You know, it's not Chicago Bear football. You know, so we looking forward next week. We got Green Bay. Just hoping that we can get out from there.
Okay. Just talk about your effort. Another great performance. You were able to bring a kickoff all the way back, but it looked like you had about 3 or 4 opportunities, one step away, huh?
I know, you know, the turn of the game is getting better, you know. Still a lot more to be done there, you know. Just as a total team, you know, we just got to step up and finish the game.
Okay. What happened on the kickoff return, the one you took back to the house? You had made some moves, but you also just kind of threw one guy off of you, huh?
You know, it just got determination to try to get in the end zone, you know. And that's what I tried. I tried my best getting in there, and some certain things I had to do. And, you know, my teammates, like every week, they go out and allow on them, and they come out with great blocks and lead me into the end zone.
Okay. But, again, disappointing, I see, with you as well as your teammates, just because so close, and this team has played well in so many instances, but a couple plays here and there, huh?
That's all it was. You know, we came back in the ball game for a quarter, and, you know, like I said, we just got to finish the game.
Okay. First quarter is over, 3 quarters to go in the season. The way Lovie likes to break it down, it could be turned around in Green Bay next week. That's what you guys looking at?
That's basically what we're looking forward to. You know, Green Bay is basically our rival team, you know. And we just got to find a way to get out this dog hole, man. Like I said, we're in the hole right now. You know, we got a lot of people that's down, you know, a lot of teammates, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you, if you can keep returning, getting one a game like you're doing, and putting your team in a situation, that may turn around.
Almost definitely.
All right. Thanks, Devin. All right, let's go back to you guys in the studio. Devin Hester.
All right, William, here's a look at the report card on the special teams. A+, A-, A. The Bears had a blocked field goal. They blocked one themselves. Robbie Gould came through on a few occasions in this one, and of course, Hester taking one back. He did have a couple of fumbles, and Peggy makes a good point from Chicago. She sends an email question. Do you think Hester's fumbles are the result of playing offense and special teams? Why not make him just concentrate on returning? Your thoughts on that, Dan?
I think that with a player like him, these guys want to play. They want to get their hands on the football. You know, if you're looking at just limiting him to special teams, then you're not taking full advantage of his skill set. He wants to get out there and catch the football in space. Look, the other thing I'd say, let's run him deep a couple of times and just throw it up there and see what happens.
Yeah, you know what? They haven't stretched the field at all this year.
Exactly.
No, not at all. Well, what's up with that?
Well, for me, the only reason why I gave special teams an A- first touch on that, and plus he gets those fumbles because he's so nifty. You don't know where he's going to go, so he's getting different swipes at different angles, and I think that's part of the problem. But this guy in space is unbelievable, and I gave him A- because obviously they had one field goal block. But you're right. Not as a decoy, just as a shot play. Every game you normally go in with what we call shot plays where you just try for the home run. Either that or put him in the slot and have him clear out the safeties.
Right.
Get some deeper dig routes and things like that. That's how he can
Well, let me ask you
utilize.
this, my friend. A+, A, and an A-. Sakim, I took it from A+.
down to an A.
A+ performance.
What's wrong with you, Jimmy?
Overall, I mean, they did very well. You know, they were blocking field goals, and, you know, again, you know, that's something that's very difficult to do in the NFL. And then they're also returning the ball like crazy. 324 return yards in the NFL.
These
is
two
just
teams,
phenomenal.
too, are real big. Both of these teams, the Lions and the Bears, are real big on blocking kicks for whatever reason.
Danielle Manning coming through with a blocked field goal today. Time now to bring you Brian Griese's first official press conference on this show. It's brought to you by AMCO. This was just moments ago from Ford Field.
Well, we didn't win the game, you know, and I look at myself first, you know, and when you don't win, you got to look at yourself personally and see what you could have done better and learn from that and go forward.
Brian, any rust at all involved? I mean, you got a lot of reps this week, of course, but it's still been a while since you've been in a game.
Yeah, it has been a little while, and you know, just getting used to the speed of the game again. It doesn't matter how much you've played in the past. To get back out there and to get the speed of the game down. I felt better as the game went on, but early in the game, you know, in the first quarter, we kind of had some drives that stalled, but I thought we got a little bit of rhythm after that.
The interception that was returned for a touchdown, did you just not see that defender there, or what happened?
Yeah, what happened there is I was expecting one coverage, expecting man coverage, and for the inside defender to run down with Rasheed Davis and cover him on a slant, and ended up being his own coverage, and he fell off late and made the play.
Pretty hard to fathom that this team is 1-3 with all the talent that's on it.
We are 1-3, and you know, you are what your record says you are, I think, and 2006 doesn't matter right now. It's about 2007 and about how we're going to respond. We've got a big test coming up next week. But for me personally, I wouldn't want to have it any other way for us to get things back on track.
Brian, how was the communication? Were there any obstacles within the offense you need to go on with you?
No, I felt the communication was really good today, and it was a positive. I think that we're on the same page. We were able to communicate in the noise on the road, which is not always easy.
What else did you feel like you needed to improve on aside from the turnover?
Well, you know, for me to continue to work with the guys on this team and for them to get used to the way that I play the game, for me to get used to the things they do well, and tailor our offense to those things. But obviously, you can't turn the football over, especially on the road, against a good offense.
Right, can you tell us what happened on the turnover that was returned for a touchdown?
Yeah, I just was telling these guys that it was a man coverage play, trying to throw the slant outside, and I was expecting man coverage, and they got zone coverage, and the guy fell off of the inside slant and was in the throwing lane.
Obviously, taking care of the ball is first, but you can't get, you know, at the same time as the fine line. When you're trying to make plays, you can't get too conservative, then go the other way, can you?
No, that's playing quarterback, and like I said, it's about making decisions and tempering that with making plays. And as a quarterback, that's what you get paid to do. And if you're going to have plays that don't go your way, you better make enough to make up for it. I mean, at the end of the day, whether you win or lose is the ultimate judgment.
Is it a tough position for you when you get put in there now and everybody in Chicago expects you to immediately turn the team around?
Well, listen, this is a tough position to play, period. Quarterback is not an easy position to play, but, you know, I'm in the situation I'm in, and I'm thankful for the opportunity, and I'm going to take the opportunity seriously and sit down and look at the film and see what it is that I can do better, see what we can do better as an offense, and continue to improve, and hopefully next week get it done.
Brian, would it have been easier, say, to get eased into starter's role? I mean, you know, maybe have played various quarters and games leading up to this, even last year.
No.
So just starting cold like this, I mean, coming right in and starting is okay?
That's fine, yeah.
What kind of things were the Lions showing you guys today as far as the defensive line?
Well, they mixed their coverages well. They had some zone blitzes that they were bringing on first and second down, and playing some two-deep coverage. They were trying to keep our guys in front of them. They didn't want to give up any big plays, so we had to be patient in a lot of situations and taking what the defense gave us. And you know, at the end of the day, I thought they played pretty well.
Talk about the up and down nature of this game. It was kind of slow going in the first half, and then things got kind of crazy there. Can you comment on that?
Well, it's back and forth and ebb and flow in all kind of games. You know, they only had 3 points at halftime. They end up with 30-some odd points. So that's just the way the game goes sometimes.
I don't know how hard you grade yourself. How much of this do you put on you?
You know, I'm a part of this team, and I'm going to look at myself first and foremost to see what I can do better. I mean, that's as a competitor, that's what you have to do, and as a leader, that's what you have to do. And so I'm going to look at the film. You know, some of the plays I didn't even see the first or the second interception. I don't even know what happened. So I got to watch the film to see, because sometimes I'm on my back and I don't see what happens. But see what happened and see where we are in our learning process on offense, and come back to work and get better.
All right, Brian Griese, after his debut in the 2007 season for the Bears, C-, C-, B+, 3 costly interceptions, 2 at the goal line, 1 a pick six. We're going to the email bag one more time. Mike from South Carolina.
I had a D+ for the
D+?
quarterback.
Professor Jiggets wants to change his to a D+.
No, it was a D+ here originally.
Okay. All right. Well, we made a mistake then. All right, that's our first this year.
Sensitive.
What's going on?
Wow.
Check
I'm drinking that beer Kool-Aid that much.
Let me check. This is an email from South Carolina, Mike Todd. By the way, this is all in capitals. We didn't set it that way, but he's obviously very mad. Griese cost us the game, period. Do you think Lovie will put Rex back in, or will he stick with Griese for another loss? Wake up, Chicago. Griese is with his 4th team for a reason. Bring back Rex before it's too late. Are we going to have this thing going back and forth now because of the way Brian performed today? You're going to have the Rex backers one week.
Well, you know, you've always
the Bashers
heard
the
who
next.
the most popular guy in town is.
The backup.
Wait, why isn't Kyle Orton's name getting thrown?
Well,
in
there
the
is a
mix
lot
right
of
now?
people. Someone just sent in.
Throw
Kyle
everybody in
Now
the
that you
back.
brought it up, yeah, you know, why not, right?
Hey, 110 ball games for you. You got to start thinking about it. But no, I think he probably will continue to go with Brian Griese. At times he looked great in this ball game. Got a rhythm going. Need to clean it up. Obviously, to me, it is a function of play calling. They got to execute. They got to get better blocking. You know that, Dan. They're not doing a good job up front, and the running game needs to be there. Every quarterback needs a run game in this league. The Bears do not have it.
We're coming back with more U.S. Cellular Bears postgame live after this. Only 3.3 yards per carry. Bears only 69 yards on the ground against the 23rd ranked team against stopping the rush in the National Football League. We'll hear more from Ced Benson right now as he addressed the media a short time ago.
Not coming home with wins is frustrating. I wouldn't care if I ran for another yard as long as we're coming home with wins. We got to turn this ship around, and once we get that rhythm, once we find it, I'm sure everything will start piecing itself together.
Have the faith that you can?
No question, yeah.
What are the positives people talk about in training camp? Are you guys surprised that you're 1-3? Is it surprising to you guys?
Yeah. We didn't expect to come out like this at all. And we definitely had high expectations for ourselves. It's a shocker. But we can't let it, overcome us. It's a challenge, it's a test,
A rough performance from the running game for the Bears on this afternoon. Time now for Jerry's GQ. Give us his best dressed Bears player. We didn't have a lot to choose from.
A lot to choose from. I'm still looking smooth, but Tommy Harris, yeah, he's looking smooth. He has a big, powerful knot there, metallic colored, well-tailored suit, pinstripe. Looking good.
And
I taught him well.
Yeah, and the key was we actually saw him in the game playing with that sprained knee. So here's our Jerry's GQ through 4 weeks. Jim Miller, Nate Basher, Tommy Harris, all with 1 vote apiece. Coming back with more Bears Blitz and the results to our poll question on the other side.
Chase Commercial Banking surrounds some of the best companies.
Impact Italians have had on America. We could start right out with Columbus. I couldn't even imagine any country in the world without Italian food. My mother was a master chef. I'll have you know that I am an Italian American, and I'm proud of it.
The Italian American heritage. Live it, love it, celebrate it.
Let's check in on our Cadillac poll results. What did you think of Brian Griese's debut? Here's what you had to say after logging on to ComcastSportsNet.com. 36% said, well, he looked a lot like Rex. 26% say bottom line, they lost. 23% said he showed some potential, and 15% say he looked a little rusty. You guys pretty much agree with that?
Yeah, you know, the one thing, the whole look like Rex thing, I mean, I still think that it takes a lot for you to come back after having sat around for a while and not having played. And you heard him talk about the speed of the game, but Jimmy knows better than me about that position.
Looked rusty. Did everybody just see Dante Culpepper get a victory down? This guy coming off a blown-out knee.
Right.
Came in, got a start today. And
against his old team.
On the road against the Miami Dolphins and wins against his old team. So, to me, he had a bigger uphill battle. He seemed to get it done.
Time now for the guys to give us their Monsters of the Midway presented by IPA, otherwise known as the Bears MVP. And Zoom, we kick things off with you.
324 return yards, Devin Hester. I mean, this guy's amazing. Every time you kick the ball off to him, he poses that threat of scoring a touchdown, and that's what happened today. They got a little cocky, you know, kicked the ball off. They're feeling good about themselves, and Devin Hester reminded them who he was.
Jim, who do you have?
For me, defensive end Mark Anderson. I thought he made a crucial couple sacks in this game. The forced fumble, unfortunately, the Bears couldn't gain the momentum on it, but I thought, you know, much like the rest of the D-line, he had an outstanding game.
Jigs?
I'm going with Devin Hester, the guy from the U. When you see a guy with that many return yards, I mean, he's a game changer. And, you know, a little block here and a little block there, and he might have 3 touchdowns today. Who knows?
I'm going with Mark Anderson as well. 2 of the Bears' 6 sacks on this afternoon, a forced fumble, a couple tackles. Mark Anderson gets my Monster of the Midway. Under a minute to go in the show, guys, quickly, the Brian Griese debut certainly was not impressive, but is this something that you think he'll work through and we should see improvement? Because we better. Next week is an absolute must-win against Green Bay.
I like, you know, as Jim was talking about earlier, I like the way that you saw his timing and the rhythm that he was getting in at certain times. And I like the fact that they had a couple of drives, particularly one late in the game. This is a 12-play drive. So, yeah, some things can get better offensively.
Jim, rusty, but you saw some signs there?
Yeah, he's a rhythm thrower. He'll get better at the rhythm throws. Obviously, can't make the bad decisions. It's costing the Bears
Quickly,
games.
Vasher and Peanut, do you think we'll see them back next week?
I doubt that we're going to see them. You know, Vasher basically has a tear in his groin, and then Tillman, he has a high ankle sprain. So those are 2 tough injuries. I don't think that they'll be there next week.
Lions take care of the Bears 37-27 the final. Now 1-3 on the year. That's going to do it for U.S. Cellular Bears Postgame Live. For Jerry Zuma, Jim Miller, Dan Jiggets, and William Jackson, I am Pat Boyle. We'll see you immediately following that Bears-Packers game next Sunday night. Blackhawks hockey is coming your way next. So long.
Hey, Chicagoland, look. The NFL has designated this National Breast Cancer Awareness Weekend, and there is a breast cancer survivor, Deanna Favre, the wife of Brett Favre, just moments ago coming out onto the field and serving as an honorary captain tonight for the Green Bay Packers. And now Deanna is down on the field with Andrea Kramer. Andrea.
Thank you very much, Al. Deanna Favre, clean for the past 3 years. Just got an appointment last 2 weeks ago to tell her that. What is your game plan for trying to raise awareness about breast cancer?
Well, it's like tonight. The NFL is getting involved, you know, raising awareness through events like this, and just hopefully just to press on and have events like this, and different organizations are really putting the word out there. You could marry a football player and everybody could know about your breast cancer. No, but I think it's events like this that really spread the word.
All right, now speaking of the football player, there's always so much talk with Brett about his retirement. But when you see the success he's having and the success the team is having, what does that mean to you?
It's so exciting. Who deserves it better? We've been through so much in the past couple of years, and I think Brett has really gotten back to, you know, feeling really confident about his play. He's playing exciting, young. He looks like he's having a great time, and that's what really matters to him.
Thank you so much for your time, Deanna. Her new book is called Don't Bet Against Me, and Al, I think you could say that's Brett Favre's mantra as well.
Absolutely, and it's been his mantra since he took over here as the starting quarterback in 1992. It's the 31st time that he will be facing the Chicago Bears, and he'll get the ball very shortly because Robbie Gould will kick off for Chicago. Tramon Williams is back to receive for the Green Bay Packers. Lambeau Field rocking, crowd standing, and the game is underway. The kickoff is taken by Williams at the goal line. Out past the 20. Flag is thrown, and he's tackled at the 28-yard line. Larry Nemmers is the referee tonight, and the flag is down. In fact, 2 of them at the 30-yard line.
During the return, holding, number 37. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, Green Bay.
Aaron Rouse. So Brett Favre comes out for the 242nd consecutive time he starts. That's regular season starts. He's also started 20 playoff games over that period. Took over for Don Mikowski in September of '92, and right now October of '07, and having a great season. He's on a pace to set a career best in passing yardage from the 17. This time they'll start with the run, and that's unusual in and of itself, as Deshaun Wynn, a 7th-round draft choice out of Florida, picks up a first down on a 12-yard run through the middle for Mike McCarthy's team.
You know, and that's the thing that Mike McCarthy said, is we want to go 2 backs. We want to run our big play, which is a lead-o. The fullback leads, the offensive, the off guard, the right guard comes from the other side, so you get a double lead in that hole. That is the base of the run offense of the Green Bay Packers.
They let Ahman Green leave in the offseason. He went to Houston, win as a 7th-round draft choice. There's a slant to Donald Driver, his favorite receiver. That's a gain of 7. Here is the Green Bay offense.
Brett Favre, University of Southern Mississippi. Deshaun Wynn, Florida. Corey Hall, Boise State University. Donald Driver, Alcorn State. Greg Jennings, Western Michigan.
Donald Lee, Mississippi State.
Chad Clifton, Tennessee. Darren College, Boise State. Scott Wells, Tennessee. Junius Kaufman, North Carolina A&T. Mark Tauscher, Wisconsin.
Tauscher and Clifton, each in his 8th season. The guards are young. The center, Wells, is in his 4th year. There's Urlacher in the middle for Chicago. Favre off the play fake, throws to the outside. That's caught by Jennings, who caught that record-setting touchdown pass last week in Minnesota to eclipse the Marino mark. Tackled by Tillman, who comes off the injured list. He missed last week.
You know, this is what the Packers do. I mean, we see them, they run that lead-o we talk about, then they come back and they throw a slant, and then they come back and they throw another slant. It's just where again, you know, I was talking about the passing game of the Packers. They don't have great pass protection, so most of the passes are of the shorter variety. And Brett Favre throws them almost perfectly.
On the ground again, this is Wynn, and Wynn with another big run through the middle. What do you mean they have no running game? To the 10-yard line, tackled there by Danielle Manning, and the crowd goes wild.
Well, Mike McCarthy said that he could do it. He gets a good block right in the middle by his center, Scott Wells. It all starts right here, right in the middle. Wells gets that block, stays with a nose tackle, gets him to the outside, and Deshaun Wynn just runs right off.
44-yard run. Wynn again. Wynn came into the game averaging 3.8 yards per carry. League average 4.1. He was the second of the rookies to be chosen. They went for Brandon Jackson out of Nebraska in the 2nd round, but he's been hurt. Wynn taking advantage of that opportunity. And the other running back is Morency, who's been hurt as well, but he's ready to play again.
You see Wynn on that long run, though. You know that he doesn't have great speed. When you break away and you get out there in the open and you look back, that means that you don't have great speed, because if you have speed and you get out in the open, no one's going to catch you.
2nd and goal, as you saw, 2nd in passing, last in rushing. Morency's the back. He takes the inside give. Morency fighting his way down to the 1-yard line. Morency, who came over from the Houston Texans in a deal that sent Sam Gatto to Houston last year, tackled by Briggs, who missed last week's game. Briggs hurt himself in the Dallas game, missed a week, but he's back at linebacker. There's Lance.
You know, you watch the Packers and you say that there's no way they could run the ball. They've thrown over 70% of the time. And then they come out and Mike McCarthy says, we are going to run the ball. And you think, Bear defense, you're not going to? But doggone, they're proving they can.
Out of the power eye, there goes Wynn in for the touchdown.
Lovie Smith did not expect that. You know, you talk about Deshaun Wynn being a 7th-round draft choice. The fullback that is leading him there, Corey Hall, number 35, is also a 7th-round draft choice rookie. And he's a rookie that didn't even play fullback in college. He was a linebacker at Boise State. And he's had a couple of good lead blocks.
And they filled out that power I with Corey Williams, the defensive tackle. So they had a converted linebacker and a defensive tackle leading the way. And the extra point by the rookie Mason Crosby is good. And the Packers saying, hey, America, you know, we're 4-0, and we deserve to be 4-0. 4 minutes into the game, they ain't kidding. Yet, folks, it is 83, or it was at 6 o'clock. It's dropped, they tell us, down to 79. Meanwhile, what's hot is the Packer running game. 54.3 is their season average coming into the game. They had 64 yards on the first drive alone. Mason Crosby to kick off. It's a short kickoff. It is fielded up at the 29-yard line, and that's one way to keep it away from Devin Hester as Israel Adonijah hauls it in and runs it back to the 30-yard line. Favre goes over the pictures after a perfect first Green Bay drive. 7-0 Pack early. Absorbed for a second. The Bears with 21 quarterbacks, and there they are. There's the list ever since Favre took over as the starter here. He hasn't missed a game. Here's the 21st in Greasy, and he hits Clark, who gets dumped immediately by Bigby for a loss of 1. Here's the Chicago offense.
Brian Greasy, University of Michigan.
Cedric Benson, University of Texas.
Jason McKee, Temple.
Muhsin Muhammad, Michigan State University.
Bernard Berrien, the one and only Fresno State.
Desmond Clark, Wake Forest University.
John St. Clair, Virginia.
Ruben Brown, Pitt.
Olin Cruz, University of Washington.
Roberto Garza, Texas A&M Kingsville.
Fred Miller, Baylor University.
And that line hoping to lead the way for an improved running game. Their running game has been nothing to write home about either, as Cedric Benson carries for a couple. Benson taking over when Thomas Jones was dealt to the New York Jets. He's going to be the workhorse, but so far, not very good. 3.2 per carry this season.
Yeah, and Ron Turner, the offensive coordinator, said that, you know, that he had to get to the run and stay with the run the whole game, that was going to be one of the keys to what they're doing now. It's not only running the ball. Everyone says you have to run the ball. You have to run the ball successfully and not end up in these situations.
They put Devin Hester in the game, and the special teams maven runs a pattern, but Johnny Jolly, number 97, gets his arms up to knock it down, 4th down. Jolly has now blocked 4 passes this season, and the Packers have blocked 10 at the line.
You know, and that's, you know, you get the speed rush from the outside guys, and, you know, Kabir Badjabiamila and Aaron Campman, and then you get the power guys, Johnny Jolly and Ryan Pickett, just pushing straight up the middle.
Brad Maynard to punt. Charles Woodson back to receiver. That's a very good angled kick, pinning Woodson at the 13-yard line, and he's able to bring it back to the 22-yard line, where he's tackled by Brendan Ayanbadejo. So a perfect start offensively and defensively for the Green Bay Packers tonight. For Pacific right here on NBC. Here's the Packers' second possession now. It begins from the 22-yard line. 7-play drive, 5 rushes for a touchdown on the first drive. Fake draw, buys time. Favre goes to the outside and underthrows the intended receiver driver. Let's take a look at the Chicago D.
Adewale Ogunleye, Indiana University.
Tommy Harris, the University of Oklahoma.
Darwin Walker, University of Tennessee.
Mark Anderson, Alabama Crimson Tide.
Hunter Hillenmeyer, Vanderbilt.
Brian Urlacher, University of New Mexico.
Lance Briggs, University of Arizona.
Charles Tillman, the University of Louisiana.
Adam Archuleta, Arizona State.
Brandon McGowan, the U, Maine.
Danielle Manning, Abilene Christian.
They're still minus Nathan Vasher, one of their starting corners, and through the middle again up to the 25-yard line goes Vernon Morency. He's tackled there by Tommy Harris, who had that torn hamstring last year. Harris coming back with that. It's sort of indicative of this whole defensive unit. Briggs missed last week with a hamstring. Tillman was out. Archuleta had a broken hand. Vasher is still out. Chicago has already started 18 different players on defense.
Right, and Tommy Harris is playing, and he hurt his knee in that Dallas game, but that hamstring still hasn't improved. I mean, he's not 100%. I'd say Tommy Harris right now is probably about 80%. He really won't plant that left foot in the ground a lot.
Favre out of the gun. Has time. Over the middle, that's James Jones, a great-looking rookie out of San Jose State who caught touchdown pass number 422 last week. Jones with tremendous hands, a third-round pick, 23-yard gain, first down Packers.
You know, if you say what's the difference in Brett Favre this year, I would say his confidence in his wide receivers, including James Jones. Like you said, a rookie from San Jose State. I mean, and the thing that Brett Favre does now is he spends more time with his receivers on an individual basis, talking to them about what he sees and about what they see. He's more like a player coach.
From the 48-yard line, he hands the ball off on first down to Morency, a gain of 2, 2nd and 8. Here's Andrea.
Well, so much for Deshaun Wynn's great start, 4 yards for 59 yards on that first drive and the touchdown. They've taken him into the locker room with cramping in his left lower leg. He's getting an IV. They were stretching him on the sidelines. They expect him to be back.
Well, they're already minus Brandon Jackson. We talked about the fact Wynn was a 7th-round pick. Jackson, 2nd-round pick. So Morency is their back right now, normally playing mainly on third down. And they have another back, Ryan Grant, first-year player from Notre Dame. 2nd down and 8 from midfield. Favre throws, caught on the outside by Ruvell Martin. And Martin, who had a big night on New Year's Eve in Chicago, gets forced out of bounds by Archuleta, and another first down for Green Bay.
You see what Martin did on that one? He caught the slant, which is an inside pattern, but instead of coming across this way, he goes back out. You see the cushion right there? He catches the slant. Now, instead of continuing this way in the slant, he cuts back and goes to the outside and picks up another 10 yards.
You saw Archuleta one-arm him there because he's got that right arm, the broken hand, in a cast.
And you also saw Danielle Manning, who's moved from safety to corner.
And Favre gets sacked. They do get in. They get penetration that time, and it's Tommy Harris who will get credit for the Chicago sack.
Yeah, and that's when the Bear defense is really rushing the passer well. They're getting pressure up the middle from Tommy Harris because everyone is going to get it from the outside. But when you can get an inside pass rusher like Tommy Harris was, he just got during college, he just got on his outside shoulder. That's that 3 technique that they talk about, and he just powered right through college's outside shoulder.
2nd and 14. They had Morency and Grant both in the backfield. They send Lee in motion. Favre will throw, finds the seam, and finds Donald Driver, as he's been doing for 9 seasons. And Driver takes it to the 26-yard line, about 4 yards shy of a first down. Bear defense against Favre. And as you can see, the Bear defense has picked him off 9 times, just 1 touchdown pass. They shut him out here last year on opening day. Then Chicago on New Year's Eve, they had nothing to play for. We did that game on a Sunday night last year. Green Bay came in and won their 4th consecutive victory to end the season. And they have added 4 more at the beginning of this year. So an overlap 8-game winning streak for the Green Bay Packers. It's 3rd and 4.
You see that formation there? Brett Favre said every time they get in that formation with Bubba Franks, who just caught that ball, it's going to be a pass.
Lee over the middle, one of the 2 tight ends. And so Favre on 3rd down and 4 is able to convert. They move the chains. And this drive has already consumed 8 plays.
He said that that's one of their passing formations. They have the running back, and they put the tight end right here in the backfield. He said anytime you see our tight end and our running back together, you know that it's going to be a pass. That time it was Donald Lee, not Bubba Franks in the backfield.
Green Bay 142 yards. Chicago 2. 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line.
3 wide receivers. They've used a lot of that this year.
And again a slant, and this time it is ruled a catch and a fumble. Jones losing the ball, and then Manning Jr. picks it up and goes out of bounds. The question is, will it stand? And of course, we put the kibosh on Jones by talking about the great hands he has, and then he coughs the ball up. Let's see. We'll take a look at the replay and see if there'll be a challenge here.
There's no one throws this pattern better than Brett Favre. I mean, that slant, he puts it right on Jones. I mean, Jones catches the ball, starts to run with it, and he's just stripped. Right there. I mean, the Bears defense does this as well as anyone in football over the years. Go for the strip tackle.
And that was Charles Tillman, again, hurt last week, comes back here.
Green Bay is challenging the ruling on the field of the interception. They feel the pass was incomplete. We'll review the play.
So what they're going to say is that he never had possession of it. Turn the call. It'll be as ruled on the field. It'll be a fumble in Chicago's ball.
Yeah, that's a catch and a fumble. I mean, you know, if they make up something else, then they're stretching it too much.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands as a completed catch and interception. Green Bay will be charged with their first team timeout.
And that is the key. He had the ball, even though it's moving around. He got both feet down while he had control of the football, even though the ball is moving. So Jones gets stripped. Tillman creates it. And that's the end of that Green Bay drive, which had gone 70 yards. Now Chicago with Greasy starts at its own 16. Their first drive was a 3-and-out. This is Benson going nowhere. A.J. Hawk is there first. Let's take a look at the Green Bay starting defense.
Aaron Campbell, Iowa Hawkeyes.
Ryan Pickett, Ohio State University.
Johnny Jolly, Texas A&M. Colin Jenkins, Central Michigan. Brady Papinga, Brigham Young.
Nick Barnett, Oregon State.
A.J. Hawk, The Ohio State University. Charles Woodson, University of Michigan. Atari Bigby, Amsterdam Admirals.
Nick Collins, Bethune-Cookman. Al Harris, A&M Kingsville.
11 years ago, Woodson and Greasy, teammates at the University of Michigan. And again, that Chicago running game, Benson was the 4th guy picked in the 05 draft. And he shared time with Thomas Jones over the past 2 seasons. And then finally, because of chemistry issues and Jones wanted a bigger contract, they got rid of Jones. Now Benson has to be the guy, and he has to prove he can be the guy.
Yeah, but the thing is last year they had Benson and Jones. Then when they lose Jones, all they have is Benson. So Benson can't replace Jones. Someone else has to replace him. And Benson this year does not look comfortable. I mean, he doesn't look like he really feels strongly about anything he's doing, whether it's the running game or the passing game.
3rd and 6. Greasy under pressure. Gets the pass off to Benson, and Benson will be a yard shy of the first down. Coming into the game tonight, how bad has Chicago's offense been? They are averaging 3.82 yards per play. Per play. That's not per rush. The league average for a rush is 4.1 per play. It's in the 6s.
Right, you know, and they say you have to run the ball. You have to run the ball effectively, and you have to get first downs. I mean, if you run the ball and then you leave it short, then you throw a check down and you complete it and you still have to punt, you can go back maybe to that 3rd down play, but you can also go back to not picking up enough in the running game.
Maynard kicking to Woodson. Woodson at the 20. Woodson swinging to the outside. And finally, he gets corralled by the 3rd Bear to string him out. Brendan Iambadejo, their special teams maven. Green Bay has the ball again. 7-0 Pack. Came in 92, and Green Bay has won about 2 of every 3 since 1990. Morency is the running back. They begin this drive to the Packers at their own 24-yard line. Darwin Walker is out of the game. Anthony Adams takes his spot. And this is Morency swinging to the outside, and Morency gets tackled at the 26 by Harris. So with Walker hurt, we'll get a word on him in a minute, but Dusty Dvorak, another tackle, John, went out on opening day. He was a starter. And we haven't even talked about Tank Johnson, who couldn't stay out of trouble with the law. They had to get rid of him, and he's waiting to be activated by Dallas down the line.
Yeah, but they'll get well quickly when Tommy Harris gets 100%. I mean, he can be one of the most dominant inside players in the National Football League. He's going to check to a pass, but this is cover 2.
Ryan Grant's the running back, a slant. Boy, they just worked that slant so beautifully. And this is Donald Driver. Slants and crosses and slants and crosses. And that's been what Green Bay's passing attack has basically been through the first 4 games plus a quarter. 26 yards.
You know, and that's the thing. The ball doesn't stay in the air very long, and it doesn't stay in Brett Favre's hands very long. You see, boom, right there, he puts it right on Donald Driver. And if you watch the other end of that, and when Brett Favre goes back, it's 1, 2, 3, and that ball is out of there. But the key to the success of this offense is they have to run for yards after they catch the ball. And they do it. They do it very well.
Another slant, another catch. And this is Jones. And Jones, again with Tillman there, putting it on the ground. And Chicago's recovered. So Jones, and Favre was just talking about Jones and the great hands he has and the speed, and he's fumbled the ball twice tonight. And that, again, with Tillman, it's the second time he's punched it out. This time Archuleta, broken hand, and cast them all with the recovery. Chicago needs every break it can get.
It out to punch it out. Charles Tillman really punched that one out. He gave it a right hook. Look at Mike McCarthy talking to James Jones there.
Devin Hester starts as a wide out flank to the right here. A special teams star. They're going to try to work him. Here goes Benson for nothing. So the first quarter is winding down. The Packers have 189 yards. The Bears have 12. But the two turnovers have made it a close game.
You know, and you talked about the pass patterns the Packers run, and they're going to run those slants and they're going to run those crosses, and that's a tough thing about it. Everything you're running into traffic, and there's going to be a lot of defenders there. So after you catch the ball, you always want to make the run, obviously, but you also have to protect it.
A little more riskier to throw it over the middle. 2nd and 9. Greasy has a lot of time off the fake. Going deep, taking a shot, but the Packers secondary read it perfectly. Bernard Berrien got blanketed by the safety Collins and the corner Woodson. 3rd down.
Yeah, and that's one of the matchups that they're doing is Charles Woodson is going to be on Berrien, and Al Harris is going to be on Muhsin Muhammad. Here's Woodson right there. Now, see, he's going to have help deep, so he can undercut that thing a little. He can play underneath, you know, and he can undercut an in, or he can run with a deep pattern, which he did on that one.
Green dot, of course, designates it came into play this year. Only one speaker on the field at a time, the quarterback's helmet, so that's what the green dot is for. Adrian Peterson is in the game on 3rd down, out of the gun, 3rd and 9. Bears still seeking their first down. Greasy under pressure, throws, and this time, can they get the first down? Rasheed Davis avoided the first tackle and appears to have been just a little bit short. They're going to spot the ball just inside the marker at about the 48-yard line.
If he doesn't get that, that was a great tackle by Charles Woodson. You know, one of the things that they were worried about is Kabir Gbaja-Biamila here on John St. Clair, and you can see why they're worried, and they wanted to give him some help. They said they'd put a tight end over there. They would help. They would chip and do those types of things. They didn't on that play, and Kabir almost got there. But that tackle by Woodson to save a first down was a great tackle.
Saved a first down because Jarrett Bush missed the tackle, and so now it is 4th down at the 48-yard line with under a half minute to play in the opening quarter.
And Jarrett Bush, you say, why is he in there? He's the nickel corner. And when you have two corners like the Packers do, and Al Harris and Charles Woodson, and then you can get Jarrett Bush in there on nickel, he's usually the guy you go after.
They're going to bring the chains in here per request. But the result's going to be the same. As you can see, it's almost a full yard. But Chicago wants to know exactly how much. Almost a full yard.
You say, well, why did they bring them over? Because those are the official ones.
Those are the official ones, and they might want to give their defense a little extra rest as well. They've been out on the field almost the entire quarter.
And now they have to take the official ones across the field, and they have trouble getting through the players with it. I think they're stuck out there in the middle.
Mainly the Bears.
Now they're measuring it in the middle.
Well, that Bear defense just got a free, 2 minutes.
If they keep measuring at another spot, if they go over to the outside numbers and measure, they can get 10 minutes. Right. Everyone in the stadium could go out and have a broad. Isn't this a great place? I mean, you come to Green Bay and you just look at these fans, and this has to be the only stadium in the NFL where people still sit on benches.
Yep.
You know, and there's something about that. You know, that's kind of football. It's outdoors. It's Green Bay, Lombardi Avenue. There's something every time I come here, I get the same feeling that, you know, enjoy it now because you're in a very special place.
You know, you can get more people in the seats that way, too.
Right, you just give them a number.
Right. Maynard's kick is just into the end zone. Could not cough and corner it. Favre goes to work at the 20-yard line. Monday, a night for heroes, starting with the action comedy Chuck, then Heroes with all new stories, followed by the new drama Journeyman. Catch it all tomorrow, Monday night, 8 Eastern and Pacific, 7 Central and Mountain, right here on NBC. In Green Bay, it's been hot this week. I mean, heat's a factor in tonight's game. It was 86 today, 83 about an hour before the game. I think they said it was 79 at game time. That is the temperature. There it is.
Well, Deshaun Wynn went out already with cramps and had to get an IV.
Haven't seen him since. Morency is the running back. Wynn was great on the first drive. And here's Morency up to the 21-yard line. He's tackled there by Mark Anderson, and we will tick down to the end of the quarter. Dominated by Green Bay. It would be a bigger lead were it not for the 2 turnovers. 7-0 is the score. Sunday Night Football back after these messages.